Hello.
Hey, what's up?
Hey.
How you doing? How you doing, Sean?
Oh, I'm doing good. Just
Yeah.
here with a couple friends tonight, actually.
Oh yeah?
Yeah.
Who's there? Who's over there?
Heavy one and heavy two here,
Oh, nice.
hanging out. Sweet, yeah. Going to be talking a little bit about the lend lease program going on for the upcoming World. So if you guys were curious about the promo screen and the credit approved. I was just basically saying, seems like everyone will have no problem getting a loan of some kind if you're heading to Worlds. So we'll talk a little bit more about what information is coming out from FFG. But before we do that, I see a couple chat messages here about around pups. Pups are doing good. One's running around here somewhere. The other one's still kenneled. She's got to spend most of her time in there. So we probably won't hear her bark. But I should give a small caveat with the time release, folks. It's generally we release right after my small baby has gone to sleep. We will fall right in sleep time. So she's a little bit proximal to us. So if you hear some crying, that's just a small caveat. I'll probably try to mute my mic, but just a peace of mind for you guys around that. So some housekeeping stuff.
All right.
I,
Sounds
I,
good.
I digress. So what's up with you, Joe? What's going on in your world besides hearing all about
Uh,
mine?
yeah, I'm feeling a little under the weather. Hopefully it's not the big bad coronavirus going around. I don't think it is.
It's
But
COVID 18. It's COVID
co
light.
yeah, yeah, COVID-18, not 19. Yep.
Gotcha.
So
You're
it's
you're
just the standard flu,
yeah,
nothing to freak out about.
you're fine.
Man, I went to the pharmacy today to pick up some cold and sinus medicine for myself and my
Yep.
girlfriend. 'Cause they're both sick. And I saw this lady, I'm not even making this up. Saw this lady with a shopping cart with like 30 rolls of toilet paper in it, like 30, maybe not 30, I'm exaggerating, but her whole shopping cart was just stacks of toilet paper. I was like, turn off the news, lady. Like, come
Okay.
on. Yeah,
Okay. Let's explore this a little bit. So,
all right.
because I had this conversation today. So, we have a Costco here. People are going crazy. Costco's selling out. Here's the first problem. There's a line you don't hear. Costco sold out.
Right.
They have pallets of stuff. But I was talking to a lady today, and the psychology around this whole thing is interesting because
Yeah.
she legitimately needed toilet paper
Yeah.
but then was
Couldn't find it.
afraid. No, she was afraid to buy toilet paper because she didn't want people to perceive that she was one of those people freaking out about needing
Oh,
toilet paper. And it's like, wow, it's like, why is this? This is go back like 2 weeks. This is not even a conversation. I've never
it's
and never will again have the conversation with somebody about toilet paper where you
yeah.
don't want to buy into the hysteria, but you need TP, but you're afraid to buy it. It's just
It's
weird.
absolute nonsense. My
Yeah.
company that I work for, one of we make like cleaning supplies and industrial hospital cleaning supplies and stuff. And like, we've ramped up production 400% on hand sanitizer, and we can't even like keep up with it. And then they're giving people hand sanitizer as gifts, like to the employees.
Nice.
Oh
This just
man,
in from Jared and
it's
chat.
hilarious.
CDC has issued a statement that only 3-ply can prevent coronavirus. So
Yeah.
all
All right.
those 2-ply purchases,
Yeah.
complete waste.
Spend the extra money when you go out and buy 30 packages of TP. Just
For
spend the extra. Treat
for
yourself.
sure. For sure.
Yep.
Yeah. Hey, we're a Legion podcast. Who knew?
Yeah.
you
So,
know,
all right.
certainly not people that tuned in for the first 11 minutes of this thing.
Well, honestly, I'm just happy to hear that there's no plans to cancel Adepticon.
At this
Um,
point, yeah.
at, I don't think at all, because I talked to some people that I know are on the staff, and they're like, we're not canceling it. We'll issue, like, we have to issue public statements that say, like, make sure you're not handling stuff in excess unless you're going to buy it, and like, wash your hands, but they're not going to cancel it.
Right.
So that's good.
I'm
Unlike other conventions,
Yeah,
that have
I'm just
happened
gonna I'm
recently.
just gonna issue this out here, just because it's a convenient excuse. No hugging, please. No hugging. Hugging is just completely off the table. So, Yes, you do not get a prize. There will be nothing special if you do that. Just you're just not getting it. But speaking of special and prize, before we get into housekeeping, let's slide all the way down to the token promo because I think that that's worth talking about.
Yeah, we got the final prototype images back from the company. As you can see in the bottom right corner, that's the Adepticon exclusive that we're going to be doing. So we hope you guys like that. It's kind of a play on the standard Adepticon skull logo. We modified it to be like a Vader skull. I think it's kind of funny.
Yeah.
So that'll be if you're one of the first 40 people that come up and find us to claim your set, that's the extra token you'll be getting.
Yeah, and I mean, again, we want to restate, cannot thank people enough, or like how popular this was. I think I might have talked this before, but Joe and I, when we first were theory crafting this out, we were like, if we can just sell 30 sets, we'll get to that nice threshold. And here we are, 200 sets later, and have you guys to thank for that for sure. So, by the way, 40 people hanging out in chat, which is insane. Thanks for hanging out. We are trying to be sticking to the same time frame. So for me, it's an hour early. I know on the East Coast it's getting a little bit late, but again, just trying to hit that window where we capture the most people. So thanks for wherever you're tuning in. Thanks for doing so. Few other housekeeping items to take care of. Let me handle the pledges here. As you guys can see, the number has creeped up pretty substantially since last time. So we jumped up another 60 credits. New additions on here is Robert, Chris, and Tyler. Of course, want to thank Nick, Jeff, Alpaz, friend of the show, Mike, Nathan, and Michael. Thanks a lot, guys. I realize maybe I haven't properly articulated. I think I have, but this is really just donating to our stream, adding to our potential to bring you guys better content, particularly on the Friday night fights. We also want to do some recorded battle reports and get into the 800 point level. So if you're able to in any way contribute at any dollar amount, it certainly helps us. Although, the 40 people we got hanging out in chat, we appreciate that too. So donations are to the Train Studio 2019 at gmail.com. As I said, whatever you guys can help us out with, we greatly appreciate it. You guys are contributing through our Patreon donations, through our token subscription on that end, the 200 sets of tokens. I mean, you guys are supporting us in many ways, so we do appreciate that. Of course, we want to acknowledge all those people each and every week. So thanks for doing that. Just while we're on that, anything more on that, Joe? Did I miss anything there? Or?
No, yeah.
Okay.
Just wanted to say thank you as well. Thanks, everyone.
Fantastic. I'm going to slide over quickly to Friday Night Fights. So, small caveat on Friday Night Fights. There will be no Friday Night Fight this week. However, there will be a Sunday all-day battle royale, if you will. So,
Yeah,
I've just...
the pay-per-view event, right?
Exactly,
Without
exactly.
pay.
Exactly. It's a
The
pay-per-view
free
that's for
per-view.
free.
Yeah.
So a special announcement. I don't even think I told Joe this actually, and we try not to surprise each other with anything, but this just kind of a development yesterday, and I realized I forgot to say. But what we're gonna have is, I think we have like 12 to 14 guys that could potentially show up. That's kind of what's indicated. So we're going to run skirmish events here in the studio all day. We're going to have a stream table up all day, and I spoke to Dave. So I still actually have the Cochin Industries display table here.
Okay.
And it's been in a crate ready for shipping, but we actually haven't shipped it anywhere. So I said, and I talked to Dave, friend of the show. I said, hey, do you mind if we, uncrate that and put that on stream? So we're going to run the Cochin Industries table on stream all day long, fully hobbied, as you guys have probably already seen. Industrial build. We're going to try to reconfigure it between each round. So if you are tuning in for multiple rounds, it'll have a slight configuration difference. And we'll rotate the table as well, just so we can kind of give players different angles of approach on that table. So look forward to that coming up on the weekend. So that'll be fun and exciting.
That's awesome. I actually have a little something to say about coaching as well.
Okay.
So I backed it. I kickstarted it. And I got my physical prints in the mail actually like 2 days ago.
Nice.
For the landing platform, and
Okay.
they're awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's
So
huge.
you got it's very big. Like,
Yeah.
and I didn't use the landing platform as a landing platform. I obviously used it as the dock, but it's very versatile in the sense. I didn't have the ramps. Did you get the ramps? Do you have the
So
go
yeah,
on
I
the
have
ends?
two ramps and then
Yep.
six modular pieces, and then all the
Right.
walls of pipe that go around it,
Yeah.
and then this other little like canister pipe thing that it's
Oh,
really cool. It like
it's a cylinder. It kind of goes up,
yeah,
right? Yeah. Gotcha.
yeah. So you can like set that. It like locks into one of the tiles, but it can also go on the side.
Yep.
And you know he gives you a bag of those clips.
Yep.
It's really an awesome system. I know a lot of people have been using it for a while, but this is the first time that I'm actually putting my hands on the pieces.
Yeah.
I've seen them at like some of our primes and stuff. Other people have printed them, but yeah, they're cool. It's really good stuff. If you guys haven't had a chance to, you know, pick those files up or print them or anything, check them out. They're really good.
Yep.
And yeah,
Uh,
certainly you can see them this Sunday.
yeah.
Fully Sean Morris terrain studioed,
Yeah,
right?
the table looks the
Yeah.
table looks good, and I think a lot of people have seen it in pictures, but we haven't seen it in practice. So, I mean, quite honestly, I actually haven't even played it. We finished it, we've created it, so it will be awesome. I'm just getting a warning here about stream quality being lowered, so hopefully it's not affecting you guys on your end. So, I'm not 100% sure if the weather's bad or something. So, anyway, if the quality is diminished, that's likely on my end here. So. But we're going to talk about a couple things. We're going to talk about primarily, we're going to kind of re-investigate Cassian and K2-SO. So we have cards and we have the command cards and lots to talk about there. I think the synergies, when that dropped, people were really excited about kind of not only it as a new unit, but how does it synergize with old units, particularly Jin and things like that. So we'll talk about that. We're also going to talk a little bit about general musings about kind of Worlds prep, see where everybody's at on that. Joe can give us an update. We've been banging our heads back and forth here trying to settle out on things. Obviously, the tanks are, whether you're playing a tank or not, have an impact in just getting in reps and just purchasing them. What's the supply like, Joe, in your area for like phase twos and sabers? What are you seeing in your end?
No problem getting them, to be honest, at all. Like
Right.
but I think, you know, at Game Storm, he usually orders a lot of extras. So I think everyone who pre-ordered them got them. And then I saw like four extras on the shelf when I went there. I actually picked up two extra boxes of phase twos just to have four sets. I
Right.
pre-ordered two, then I bought two more because I'm like, you know, I'm sure I
Yeah.
could build a list down the line that has a bunch of them, so I might as well just get them.
Okay.
Um, but yeah, B2s have been kind of weirdly hard to find. I got a box, but there's not a lot of stores that have them in the area. So
Right. Sorry, I'm just muting my mic in between because we got baby going down here. But yeah, well, like in our area, for example, yeah, just kind of following chat here. It seems people are kind of in and out. So my apologies. I'm not 100% sure what's going on with that, but hopefully it clears up. So these tanks that I got, big shout out to Nick, who actually ended up getting them from your end of the woods, actually from GameStorm, and
yeah,
ended up sending them to me because we actually cannot find sabers anywhere, at least in my province and at least Manitoba as well. We don't have B2s at all, and the phase twos are hard to come by for a lot of people. So, Chris is indicating here in chat that his local area has nothing in stock either. So it seems maybe like pockets. You were telling me GameStorm has a good supply, which is really unfortunate because I know a lot of people are trying to get them. They're trying to get in reps. They're trying to get them in lists. They're trying to get them painted for Worlds. If you can't get phase twos and they're not going to have the exception for the unpainted rule for them at Worlds, that kind of leaves people in a jam. So,
yeah. I guess my only advice is pre-order early. I don't
yeah,
know. I mean, it's hard. It's hard to say. Um, that's really all I could say. I haven't. I think anyone who pre-ordered them in the U.S. that I'm aware of has gotten them. So it's one of
right.
those things. Did you pre-order them up there? Or?
I didn't pre-order anything. So
That's yeah,
I always I kind of live by I really want to get the models from my local stores, wherever the local store. So what I do is I have three stores that I kind of order from, and in each wave I rotate. So I place my order and I just kind of keep three. Two are in my province, one is the next door. So it's not really local, but it's Canadian local.
yeah,
So anything within 2 days travel is Canadian local. So I always do that. So I don't pre-order, not because I don't want to support the pre-order process, but it's just kind of what I do. But not anticipating this supply issue, if you want to call it an issue, then that's kind of why I kind of got left out. But luckily, there's friends on the internet that can help you out. But I do feel bad for other people who are trying to get them and can't, or don't have the ability to do so. So.
Yeah.
So while we're on that topic, you want to just kind of explore the implications for Worlds on that, or?
I mean, sure. Yeah. I
Okay.
mean,
Okay.
um, yeah. What are the implications for Worlds? I guess you kind of already mentioned it. People might not have their stuff in time, or might not have it painted in time.
Right. I guess what I
Um,
mainly meant is let's go over and explore kind of the
oh,
message from FFG. So,
yeah.
okay, let me first caveat this screen right here by this is only meant to bring light to a situation that we can't really do anything about. So, if you're familiar with the Lend-Lease Act that happened in World War II, I pulled this really quickly today. I read it to Joe. I'm going to read it to Joe, or you guys, in the same way that I read it to Joe. So I'm just going to insert words here. So the Lend-Lease Act was this. The Lend-Lease Act states that FFG, the U.S. government, could lend or lease players rather than sell, happening at Worlds, war supplies, tanks, to any nation, players, deemed vital to the defense of the U.S. So basically, if you need them to play in Worlds, you're going to get them. Under this policy, the United States, FFG, was able to supply military aid to foreign allies, players from other places, during World War II Worlds, while still remaining officially neutral in the conflict, which they are, and helping us out. Most importantly, a passage of the Lend-Lease Act enabled struggling Great Britain, that would be all of us players unable to get models, to continue fighting, playing Worlds, against Germany, every other player, virtually on their own until the United States, FFG, properly gets supplies in 1941. Hopefully they will come soon in 2020. So I thought this was entertaining, at least. I think that it has sort of a direct translation. I immediately thought of this Lend-Lease Act when the FFG email came out. I think it's an amazing move on FFG's part. They're scrambling. They're doing the absolute best they can to supply players.
Mhm.
It's pretty unheard of that they're going to give you an assembled model to lend you to play. It's sad that it's at a world's level competition. But I think in light of a bad situation, I can't think of a more classy move, to be quite honest.
I think it's specific to the AAT, not the
It it
Saber.
it it, to,
Just
it,
super
to,
quick.
it totally is.
Yeah.
I just put both tanks up just to be very clear that there is plenty of places who can't even get sabers. It's
Yeah.
unfortunate. Now, here's the thing, though. The reason I put this up here is I know that a Canadian store owner has actually reached out to FFG, and they're potentially exploring, and I'm not saying they're going to do anything about it, but what that might look like for people unable to get saber tanks as well. Because
Oh,
truthfully, we just aren't able to get them. It's not like people can't just don't want to buy them, but there is stores, and they probably would know the distribution chain way better than I, that just can't get them. So I'm not saying it's going to be a thing. Do not quote me. There probably won't be any sabers. I just put that up there because I wanted to share that piece of information as well. So
okay.
because if I
Okay.
didn't if I didn't get them shipped to me, there's a strong likelihood that, and I don't even know what I'm bringing. I'm just saying there's a strong likelihood that if I wanted to, could not bring a saber, let alone an AAT, to Worlds.
Fair enough.
So
Yeah.
so again, not made to poke fun at a situation. This was just where my mind went when I saw it. I shared it with Joe. We thought it was kind of a comical to sort of translate this into a modern day lend lease specifically related to tanks. So um, share your thoughts in chat for sure. Let us know what you think about it. Like I said, I think it's a very classy move. It's a move that is pretty unprecedented. I would never fathom that would have been something that would have came up. It was, it could have been a very much a tough luck situation. I'm glad that they didn't go the other way and just said, because we are denying the legality of them at Worlds. I'm
Right.
happy. What about you, Joe? What do you think on that?
I mean, yeah, I think it's a great move because they're just firefighting at this point. They're doing the best they can. I think it's something you wouldn't see every company do, so it's cool. Um, it's kind of a bummer, though, it's
Yeah,
unfortunate.
I mean,
Yeah.
the world stage, where you're going to see probably some of the, best painted armies. You're going to see some real cool thematic units and stuff like that. And I mean, personally, I play with a ton of stuff that's painstakingly painted gray. But in this case, you know, a lot of people are going to have to. Well, I shouldn't say a lot of people. People that are choosing this option are going to put a tank into their force, which they otherwise probably would have had hobbied up to an amazing level. So,
Well, yeah, there goes all the prospects of CIS players winning best display board,
yeah,
right?
or painted. I mean, hopefully they
Yeah,
make
it's
some
kind of
sort of
lame, but
caveat around that. I'd hate to penalize players again that put a ton of work into the core aspect of their army and then can't end up taking this. I am interested to see kind of. I would love to know the numbers of requests, or how many people are like, "Geez, I want to, I want to try this out." I wasn't planning to, but I mean, probably a lot of people who have been fine tuning lists aren't going to, but I'm certain that
yeah.
there will be some people taking advantage of this
Oh,
of
for
this
sure.
move. So yeah, so let us know your thoughts for sure in chat around this whole lend lease we're hearing, seeing chat here. This is Debacle 2.0.
Yeah,
I don't really know if this is this is not. I mean, it's obviously not a mistake. There's seems to be circumstances beyond control. It's not like the wrong base was put into the AATs and they have to ship them all back and change that. That's not the situation we're at here. I get your point though.
right,
I get what Matthew is referring to here. That
right,
yeah, here we go again, and I can already hear the people sharing those
right.
thoughts. So
Yeah, yeah. FG's just having a rough year for their supply chain.
they are, and yeah,
But they, I'll tell you what, this extends to more wargaming systems than just Legion. So
yeah,
I wouldn't come down super hard on FFG specifically. Like, I casually play the Song of Ice and Fire game, and you want to talk about like supply chain issues. That game is like an example of the worst supply chain issues you could possibly imagine. Not just in the U.S. but globally, and it's rough. And so I don't know. I think it's this year's been really weird. Really, we've had all kinds of things going on, both politically and now like medically and all this stuff. And I think a lot of this stuff is just out of FFG's hands, and you could definitely blame the Dewback thing on their quality control. Like
yeah.
that just should never have happened. That sounds like it was just like a communication error.
Right, and
But
and not to convey the skies falling mentality or catastrophize any of the situation, but truthfully, we don't know what's going to happen with airlines. I seen today that Air Canada, for example, I think was cutting off flights to Italy. Just I think they're
yeah,
across the board. I don't know if other airlines are going to go those directions or restrictions. I mean, there's a lot of moving parts here that are outside of just not getting a tank.
right,
And I hate to say it, but a lot can happen in the next couple weeks. So we need to be cognizant of that, and not to place blame. That's not what people are looking to do. That's certainly not what I'm looking to do here. But just being reflective of the fact that this is a lot bigger than rolling dice on a tabletop for Star Wars.
right.
Yeah, so
Okay. Well, why don't we jump into Cassian on a
done.
lighter note? Let's
There
let's
we.
get hyped about Cassian, right?
All
We got the
right.
full spoiler.
Yeah, the Rogue Agents. I love the title of that article this week. So full
Man,
full credit to FFG for all of the cards and images you're going to see here tonight. So as always, I just go and pillage their site because the spread they have is fantastic. So we just try to condense it down into some talking points. So we won't spend a ton of time on this page here, but what are you thinking about the prospects of kind of going like even really more true Scarif themed armies now?
oh man,
Pathfinders, Jin, K2,
yes,
it's
yes.
there. I mean, we're not far off having enough viable units to really flesh that out. So,
Yeah, I think so. Now that we're getting Cassian and K2, and we're gonna kind of look at, more detailed deep dive into like what they specifically do,
yeah,
I think that there's actually a lot of really interesting synergies that they have with both Jin and the Pathfinders,
yep,
and combining them together collectively makes for some really interesting list building choices and combos and stuff that you can work out with your with like your token sharing and infiltrating and all this stuff. So yeah, I love it. The full spoiler on Cassian, I couldn't be more hyped. I think he adds a lot to the Rebel Army,
Yeah.
a lot of interesting diversity, a lot of interesting play styles, and you don't just have to pair him with Jin and do a full thematic army. I mean,
Yep.
even pairing him with like operative Luke or there's other options. Like there's a lot of really cool stuff you can do.
For sure.
Uh,
I just
but yeah,
like I like the idea of like a Bistan, Pow, Cassian, K2, Jin list. It's like,
yeah.
if you just literally want to build out your Rogue One army list, you got all the characters in there too. So you're only
If you
missing.
Yeah, if you could bid big and force recover the supplies with like a list like that,
Yeah.
I don't know how you lose.
Yeah. It's
Like honestly,
it's
it's
gonna be
like
it's gonna be strong for sure.
yeah.
Definitely in chat, 43 people hanging out. Hello. If you are in chat and you have ideas, kind of how hyped you are, what you're looking forward to, how you're gonna build out things, just keep typing them away in chat. We'll interject. We don't have a ton of topics to cover off tonight, so we'll definitely want to interact with you folks as best we can. So yeah. So again, just kind of showing you the spread here. Love the paint jobs on this. Really love K2. Here's an interesting thought I had. So K2 is, just before we move on to talking about cards, K2-SO is clearly taller. Now, with the new silhouette, will he actually gain advantage by not having his height give him away?
Well, of course. I mean, new silhouette standard is the height of the models,
Yeah.
so
I,
it doesn't matter that he's taller because that'll
no,
be a non-issue soon.
right. What
Yeah.
I'm saying is like you gain that's for shots back. Now it's we don't know, but is that silhouette apply to for shooting as well, like in terms of like what you can see?
Yes.
Okay, so then
It's for all line of sight determination.
right, so it's kind of like, an advantage that you main gain before in terms of being able to see a little bit more now is not an advantage. However, you gain it back on the potential disadvantage of being taller then. So yeah, I guess I'm just trying to figure out where I settle out on that silhouette thing in terms of if I like it or not. I really liked it for the threshold
Yeah.
of like,
I
hey,
like it.
he's got a gun pointing out here, and that's silly that gives him away. But I'm not sure if I like it so much on the height aspect. So that's just mine. I mean, if you guys have difference of opinion, feel free to share that as well. So
Well, that's like one of the problems that they were trying to fix is the height, right?
uh,
Like
uh, yeah,
uh,
but
now I don't have to feel punished for putting Celebration Vader on a 2 inches of volcanic rock, right? That's the whole point. Standardizing the height. If your troopers are kneeling, you can't be like, oh, they're at a disadvantage because they can't see over a barricade because they're kneeling. No, they're just a standard height. Like it's
yeah, I guess
right.
when it comes to particular models, I kind of would like I like that a Wookiee's taller than a guy, and I like that they can kind of see more, and I like that K2SO is taller. I like model wise, it's fine, it's there. It's just the aesthetics of that is going to be a little bit muted, I guess, with the silhouette. I do like it for the threshold piece. I like it less for the height piece. That's just, and I get the whole point of like, I can model my guy on a rock now, and that's not going to be disadvantageous to me.
Yeah,
And I can't model a whole unit of kneeling guys to like gain advantage and things like that. So
right.
of course there's a plus minus to everything. That's just
Man, you know what I think is actually cool about it? You can literally model a scout trooper laying on its stomach, like looking like a true sniper,
yep,
and then it's not like impossible from a gameplay perspective or
yep.
super game. You know what I mean?
Yep, that's true. Yeah,
Kind of
there's
cool.
there's definitely things that it opens up. There's things that it maybe condenses or simplifies. The bottom line is it gets at me around the biggest peeve that I have, and like, oh, I'm catching that tip of your cape or that antenna on Sabine's helmet. That sort of stuff is just gone. Which I'll take that with the changes of height. So I'll take the good with the
I
bad for sure.
I agree. I think it's an overall positive change for
Yep,
sure.
absolutely. Agreed. All right, let's have a look at the specifics of the cards here. Let me just get some things out of the way. So, I'll go through the card, and then I'll let Joe kind of take over in terms of what his his thoughts are. Here's obviously the renders. Models are really cool. I love how kitted out Cassian is.
Yeah,
Really
me
like
too.
that bulky model. So Cassian Andor, obviously you can only have one of them. He's 90 points. He's a trooper. He's got white dice saves, 6 health, 2 courage. We're looking at surge up and down. He
Mhm.
has covert ops, so when deployed, you may treat your rank as operative. If you do, you gain infiltrate. So he has a command icon as default and the option to convert to operative. Danger sense
Right.
3. Yep, go ahead. You want to just
Oh,
touch
I was
on
just
that?
gonna say let's just clarify this because we talked about it in our RRG episode, but I think there's still some confusion.
Sure.
So just because I know there's some people that are like, I need more clarification on this. All right, the list building rules apply before you set your models on the table. So when you're building a list, Cassian is a commander, right? You can only have two commanders in a list. One of them is Cassian.
Yep.
When you are deploying, you can make the decision to change his rank to an operative. So technically, you can have three operatives in your list. But for the purposes of list building, he fills that commander slot. The rules for building a list only apply until the actual deployment of the game starts. Then you can start manipulating ranks, as you can see with this new covert ops keyword. So some people have been like, I still don't think you can take three operatives. No, you can't.
Oh, okay, Joe. So I got a question for you.
See,
So let's
operative
let
in the when you start your game, and then you can have three operatives.
right. Okay.
Yep.
So that's clear. What happens to
Yep.
my command token?
So, good question. You okay? So if you have another commander in your list, like let's say you take Cassian Jin, you just Jin is just your only commander now. If you choose to use covert ops, Cassian's commander token now gets swapped in for an operative token. So you'd have to actually put an operative token in your bag. So if you're bringing him to a tournament, make sure you have both tokens with you if you
Okay.
plan on deploying him as an operative, right? It's your choice. And then also, if you don't have another commander after you choose this, you have to nominate a core or special forces unit. You can't nominate another operative. You can't game it to make Operative Luke your commander and have a Courage 4 army. You'd have to nominate like a Rebel Trooper or a Fleet Trooper or a Veteran or a Wookiee or a Commando or something. It has to be a core unit or a Special Forces becomes your commander. Remember, when you nominate a commander that isn't normally a commander, they have to use the commander token, not their respective core or Special Forces token.
Yep.
So it kind of plays with your activation control a little bit on purpose, you know. So just keep all that stuff in mind. I just wanted to interject there,
No,
clear that
absolutely.
up.
Absolutely.
Okay.
All right, let me rip through the rest of here. We got Danger Sense 3. So we've seen Danger Sense, but this one here is with the 3 at the end, so not 4. He has Loadout, which is pretty interesting. Let's come back to Loadout. I'll let Joe kind of talk through that, but I'll just walk us through the rest. Marksmanship here. So while attacking, you can spend an aim token to improve an attack die result, and I think we walked through that in the RRG. That you would improve a blank to a hit, and a hit can go to a crit. I don't think you can go from a blank directly to a crit in this case. He also has Tactical 1, so after you perform a standard move, you gain an aim token, so identifying what standard moves are.
Mm-hmm.
And that is basically Cassian. His weapons are melee 2 red. Cassian's covert blaster. The default weapon here is range 1 to 2, 1 red, 2 white with 1 pierce. So you want to go back up to loadout, Joe. That'll come more in the case when we start talking about the upgrades, but just walk us through a little bit about what loadout's going to imply for players.
Okay, loadout is also a super interesting new keyword. And again, we talked about it more in depth in the RRG episode when we went through all the specifics, but it's basically this. It again has an implication with your pre-game list building, right? So essentially what it allows you to do is you'll notice that he has 2 training slots, a gear slot, and then an armament slot. Um, This isn't super relevant for the armament slot because that kind of has its own rules, similar to Death Troopers and Pathfinders and everything, where when you deploy them, you could flip the card over onto either side, whatever your choice is. This is more specific to the 2 training slots and the gear slot. And then what it basically says is like when you build a list, let's say you want to put endurance on Cassian in one of his training slots. Endurance is a 6-point upgrade. You are allowed to bring 1 extra card for your training slot that costs the same amount of points or less than endurance and put it like set it to the side. And then when you deploy Cassian, you can make the choice of I want to either take endurance on him or I want to swap that for like Overwatch or to the same cost. Offensive push and Overwatch are cheaper. It doesn't change the pre-game discussion about your list and your bid. So you build a loadout, you determine your points, you walk up to your opponent and you say, "Hey, I'm at 799 because your base list has Hunter in it." Right? And that's 6 points. If you choose, that's where you determine who's blue player, who gets table side, everything else. But when you actually set your model down on the table, you can take a card out of your sideboard and swap it for that 6-point hunter as long as it costs 6 points or less. So endurance or Overwatch or offensive push or duck and cover. And you can do that for each like actual upgrade that you take. So you can't my understanding is you can't take endurance, for example, on Cassian and then just be like, I've got every other training card on my sideboard. I think it's just a 1-for-1, right? For each equipped upgrade, you can have 1 side upgrade that you can swap out of equal or lesser value.
Yeah.
So it's a little confusing. There's kind of a lot to that, but I think hopefully that helps clear up how that works. Again, you lock in your list before, you lock in your list under the standard list building rules. You have that pregame discussion about your points. And then all of these wonky changes that happen with covert ops and loadout and all that, they happen during the deployment phase.
Right.
For clarity. Yep.
Just while you were doing that, this is a great explanation, by the way. Thanks, Joe, for that. I think it's much more clear now. John points out here, he's asking if you spend 2 aim tokens, can you go from a blank to a crit? And
Yes.
the answer is yes. I was actually while you were doing that, finding it in the RRG. So it's on page 52 of the RRG, and it's the top bullet point underneath the actual explanation. And it does actually state that you can spend 2. So effectively, like I said, you're spending an aim to change a blank to a hit, and then effectively you're spending your second aim to go from a hit to a crit.
Yes.
So it is improving your dice results by 1 if you're implying that 0 is blank, 1 is hit, and 2 is crit. So
that is correct.
Good question,
great question. And you
yeah.
know what? This is going to have a lot of gameplay implications as we get more into some of these synergies here and some of the command card stuff and some of the list building stuff. So keep that in mind when we're talking later on about more of that kind of technical stuff. But
yeah.
Let's just say this: Cassian has a way to get a lot of aims.
Yes, and
he
also
can do a lot of dice fixing.
Yeah, and that's exactly. And anytime you have a pierce weapon, the ability to re-roll versus the ability to just change a hit to a crit that is going to be a guaranteed wound is much more impactful than just simply re-rolling dice, especially when you're talking about a smaller dice pool. If you've already got that result through, I advise spending the aim to just get that guaranteed wound through, or the potential to get the guaranteed wound through with a pierce weapon on board. So, okay, let's before we get into the cards, let's slide over and talk about K2-SO. As I said, folks, fantastic crowd tonight, by the way, Joe. I'm looking at the numbers. I'm always managing that kind of on the back end here. 35, 39, 40 people. Cool. Feel free to jump in chat, folks. Chat's quiet, but definitely ask your questions. And if you're just here to kind of listen and engage, we also appreciate that, of course. So K2-SO, I mean, I think is pretty awesome. And when we get to the command cards, love his solo command card, which is kind of a unique aspect. We haven't really seen that, just that one command card thing. So we'll talk about that when we get there. But K2SO, obviously, you can only have one of him. Comes in at a steal at 70 points. He is in the operative slot. He is droid trooper, so important to pay attention to that caveat in terms of just that designation. Still the trooper, but has the droid keyword there, or
Right,
the
meaning
designation.
he's not losing actions ever, and he's not, he's
Yep.
only panicking when he gets force suppression, but he's
Yeah.
not losing actions, which is awesome.
Fantastic, especially with the weird word I'm just about to share here, calculate odds. So you've seen calculate
Yep.
odds on C3PO, but this, in case you haven't, or in case you don't know, is choose a friendly trooper unit, which you include yourself if you would like. At range 1 and in line of sight, it gains 1 aim, 1 dodge, and 1 suppression token. There's
Yep.
one way Cassian can get an aim token. Not to mention, if you had a standard move, you got one from tactical, I don't know, offensive push maybe slides in there. You got all kinds of ways to do things. So, he also has armor 1. This is important. He has 5 health, 2 courage, as Joe's pointed out here. Red dice saves, fantastic. With surge up to crit. He has detachment. So that's with Cassian Andor.
Well, so think about this. Think about this. I just want to throw something out with
Sure.
detachment.
Yep.
So we see the detachment keyword on the mortars, right? The
Correct.
shore
Yep.
troopers, and we see it on the rebel veterans.
Yep.
So effectively, what this means is if you choose to make Cassian an operative and give him infiltrate, it kind of also gives K2 infiltrate.
Actually gives him super infiltrate because he can
Right.
deploy out at that command radius.
Well, yeah, he gets infiltrate, and then it's like a speed 1 distance away from Cassian.
Yep,
So
that's I mean, yeah, super infiltrate. You're just gonna put this up here. We got Jeff Rice coming in here, longtime listener, first time caller. Well, welcome. You are welcome.
welcome,
So yeah,
welcome, Jeff.
he also has incognito, which, I mean, if you
Which
wanted to
is
make it,
his most ridiculous keyword, in
yeah, I
my
was just gonna
opinion.
say, if you want to make a really awesome unit even more powerful, let's just throw that in there. So you cannot be attacked by enemy units beyond range 1 unless you have performed an attack or used an objective card an objective card action during this game. So pretty awesome in
So
terms of.
yeah,
Yep, go
let's
ahead.
talk about recover the supplies cheese here,
Yeah,
right?
sure.
You could put Jin in a list, infiltrate, right
Yep.
on top of a box. You
Yep.
could put Cassian in a list, infiltrate, right on top of a box.
With
You could put
K2.
you could put K2, who infiltrates speed 1 away from Cassian, and now cannot be attacked until he interacts with a box. Yeah, I'm thinking that's a solid last action middle box grab tactic, and then
So,
you have 3 boxes on turn 1 for free.
do, do you know what would make this unit even better?
What?
Is if K2SO had teamwork Cassian Andor. Oh
Oh
wait,
man.
he does. Oh, he does.
Okay, so now let's think about this, right? Teamwork. So he's token sharing with Cassian. He also has calculate odds. All right, so let me just go ahead and calculate odds onto Cassian. That's going to give Cassian an aim, dodge, and a suppression.
Oh,
Cassian
yeah.
loves suppression because he has danger sense. He's now going to pass an aim and a dodge to K2.
Yeah.
Let's say maybe K2 already is planted where he needs to be, and he's also incognito. Second action, why don't I just take an aim, hand another aim over to Cassian. Cassian now starts with 2 aims, a dodge, and a suppression. Moves once, tactical 1, gets a third aim, shoots 3 dice, dice fixes into 3 hits. Okay,
That seems good.
seems okay. Yeah.
And let's not forget that you can just, like, manipulate bad dice rolls. You can still use aim tokens as aim tokens.
Right.
You cannot use them for both. Just to be
Right,
clear about that.
That's a good point. That's a good point. But why would you want to?
I'm saying
You have 3 aims. You just change your dice into whatever you want, and then you're rolling a red die. That's usually going to force a hit. I'll just change it into a crit. It's so there's that, and then let's go one step further. Let's say you do put Jin in a list. Jin has a command card where she can give someone else teamwork.
Yeah.
So now why don't we take Jin, give her teamwork to Cassian, for example. She'll quick thinking, boom, passes 2 tokens to herself, onto Cassian, onto K2, and then, you know, when K2 passes his calculate odds onto Cassian, it goes to K2 and Jin for that turn, and like all of a sudden you have 1,000,000 tokens on your 3 super important characters.
And and
Get them
and
all
just
dodged up. They have to be crit.
just for
Yeah,
funsies, maybe I have offensive push on Cassian, so I'm
yeah,
just gonna tap that for the extra one,
right,
AK2SO. Now
right.
you have an extra one too.
Maybe you put offensive push on your sideboard and you
That's
said,
exactly it.
man, oh,
Yep.
but hey, we're playing recover the supplies. I'm now deploying. I know I'm not going to be playing a backline sniper. I'm going to be playing a frontline infiltrator. Maybe I'll swap to offensive push so I can just get even more free aims for moving around and all that.
J- just when you
And
just when you
it's
thought coordinated fire got nerfed,
and
out
let's
comes
also
the aim
talk about
train.
a league that involves Jin, Cassian, K2, and R2 and 3PO. Now you just have access to another source of calculate odds.
Seems good.
Just throw that into the chain, right? It's pretty fun. Rebels are getting really interesting with this, and the thing is, Cassian and K2 are really affordable points wise for what they're bringing to the table. So, I love it. I love it. But that's just their profiles, right? So let's talk about like their, some of the other stuff that they can do. Let's maybe move on to like their upgrades and stuff.
Can I just point this out that you can get Cassian, K2, and R2 all for less price than you can pay Dooku?
Yeah,
Just seems interesting. So
sure.
yeah,
Right.
that's a
Yeah.
bargain price right there. All right, let's slide over here. So Cassian Andor and K2SO again, just got the cards up for referencing. We're going to pay attention to the upgrades on here. We're just going to go through 4 of them that are on here. There is a few more that come in the pack. I think a lot of them you guys have already seen, but let's pay attention to a few of them. First being this one here, one of Cassian Andor's weapons. So we
Right.
have a range 1 to infinite. That is correct. That's not a misprint in terms of this is old sniper range again. We're kind of bringing this back,
Yes.
which I love because it's characterful. It's a special ability that you're paying for a premium. It's not just an inherent ability in the old sniper like the old snipers had. So I really do like this. It's 1 red, 1 black, cumbersome. So of course you can't use this weapon if you move. So it's kind of like get into position type thing and set up. You're gonna require that. So it's not
Yep.
like you're gonna be triggering an offensive push, tactical move and shoot. However, you can trigger all that other stuff in terms of getting you aim. So you're not going to get multiple aims off the move for this one.
Right. Going back to, some of the deployment tactics with infiltrate and stuff. I mean, this is a great way to potentially infiltrate right on top of like a moisture evaporator so you don't have to move out to touch it. And then you can like turn 1, heal it, or, whatever, if you're red or blue, you tap it and then you take a shot at infinite range with red and black high velocity pierce 1.
Yep.
Same thing with the box grab. You infiltrate on top of the box, you claim the box, and maybe you back up turn 1. Turn 2, you just aim shoot with your sniper rifle, and you're
Nope.
yeah. Jeff saying rebellions are built on hope and tokens. Yeah, for
Yeah.
sure.
Aim tokens.
If you thought Hanley and Chewie got a lot of tokens, wait till you see Cassian.
Just saying, there's potential slow play warnings for people playing Cassian, K2SO, Jin, R2, just with all the token synergy. Your opponent's gonna just purposely think that you are just stalling out as you trying to work your way through and explain all that. So of
Yeah,
course
do
I'm
do
of
your
course I'm joking, but
do your opponent a favor and set like all 40 of your tokens out on the table so you don't have to keep fishing them out of your tackle box.
exactly, yeah. Just tell me when you're done and how many models I need to remove. I get it. I get it. It's
But
it
yeah,
feel
no, I yeah, for sure, it's crazy. I really like deploying, the concept of deploying with the sniper config enabled, right?
Yep.
and just using him as a sniper in the early turns.
Right.
Also,
Um,
like affecting an objective, like maybe you don't want to force key positions. Maybe you want to try to force moisture vaps or recover the supplies if you can with Cassian. Affect
yep.
your objectives and then just take sniper shots, right?
Yeah.
So
I really like, of course, this has high velocity and Pierce 1, nothing that we're not used to seeing on sniper weapons. With a red and a black, I feel quite confident that you are easily able to manipulate this into 2 crits on a
mm,
regular basis. So
yeah, and
you're
if you
really
take
looking at,
aim action,
yeah,
right? Because you can't move because it's
yeah.
cumbersome. But if you just aim shoot, your red's probably going to go through. Your
I mean, you got,
black maybe doesn't every time, but you dice fix it with your aim.
yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, you do have calculate odds too. So if you want to generate an aim through that, if you want to have, just both an offensive and defensive token,
yeah.
you can end up doing that. So
Here's the thing about Cassian, though, just to keep in mind with his sniper rifle, he doesn't have sharpshooter,
he does not.
right? So he's not necessarily looking to land shoot through. He's just looking to dice fix one to a crit.
Yeah.
So you just need to see a hit on your red and then pay your aim to turn it into a crit, and you still pierce one.
Yep.
Right? It's
Yeah.
kind
Yeah.
of the same concept.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's just really depends on targets of opportunity, of course. But yeah, good point to point out that he doesn't actually have that baked in. So it's an important consideration. So 10 points on that in case that's a factor for anyone, plus or minus. I think that's okay for a reconfigure weapon. So here we have Jin's Blaster, another card that comes in there. It's a unique, so you only get one of those. So it's K2-SO or Jin, or vice versa, but it's only one. Pretty impressive short range weapon here at 5 white. Now on paper, initially 5 white, you're thinking, oh, it's not so good, but Z6s are all right too.
Well, he surges. So if
Yeah.
K2 takes this, he
Yep.
surges to crit.
Yep. So three out of 8 are going to be hits automatic.
Yep. Also, and like, so what I'm thinking is like, okay, it also has the caveat that if Jin's in your army, this only costs 5 points.
Yep.
So it doesn't matter. And the stipulation there is if Jin Urso is in your army and Jin can equip it or K2 can equip it. So I feel like it doesn't matter who you're putting in your army, whether it's Jin or K2, you should just pay the 5 points for this weapon and put it on someone.
Yep.
Why not? 5 white suppressive Pierce 1 on a surge
Yeah.
to crit profile? Yeah, that's pretty good.
Yeah, I'm for it. I mean,
Yeah.
I like the suppressive nature of that. I mean, anytime you can add suppressive weapons to your pool and at 5 points,
Yeah.
that's probably the cheapest suppressive weapon we have seen.
Right, and you got to remember, so like K2 doesn't have a ranged weapon at all by default.
Exactly.
But he also can't really be affected by shots if he chooses not to be until a unit gets into range 1.
Yep.
So the range 1 to 2 ban doesn't really punish him that much.
No,
I think
absolutely doesn't.
yeah, it's really good. I mean, you throw those dice and then you take a step back or something, or step back around a corner, and then now you've had this really bursty shot at something. So that could be cool.
Yep. And if the only thing you're looking to do is throw suppression, you got like I said, you got a pretty good platform in 5 dice with 3 positive results. So
Yeah.
okay, let's have a look at the next card, which I had queued up here, but I have seemingly scrolled past. Here we go. All right. So the next one I have in here is the A280 CFE pistol config.
So this is the other side of
Of
the sniper. Yeah.
Exactly. So this is so not an additional 10 points. You're gonna have that costed into there. But yeah, as Joe said, the other side, Cassian Andor only here, range 1 to 2. Weird range 1 to 2, and it has the keyword long shot. So it's implying the odds, not the distance here. Long shot 1. So while attacking, you can spend 1 aim token to increase this weapon's maximum range by 1. Sorry, I guess it is technically implying the increased range, but it's not a long range weapon. And you can increase the range by 1 for each aim token spent.
Yeah, which is crazy because this can actually you could spend 2 aims and make this a range 4 weapon.
Now, is range 5 going to be the maximum on this, Joe?
I think it actually says in the RRG
Is it
up to
range
range 4.
4? Okay, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Okay, that's important to point out. Just given the fact that you're going to have oodles of aim tokens potentially, so I
Right.
can easily see you increasing the range of this weapon to a maximum range of 4, and still have all the manipulation ability with marksman.
Right. And remember, it's like, okay, so this isn't cumbersome, unlike the
No.
sniper rifle. So,
Yep.
you do the calculate odds, he gets an aim, you do a move, tactical one triggers, gives him an aim. He now has 2 aims. He can take a range 4 shot with this gun if he wants. Or a range 3 shot and still save a token for marksman to change a hit into a crit. It's still piercing. There's a lot of flexibility here with this pistol. I
Yep.
think it's really awesome. You combine it with both marksman and long shot and all your aims, and now you can make really cool choices and still
Yes.
pierce. Yeah.
I really like the feel of Cassian in terms of like, unlike a lot of characters that we've seen, or even units, we have those standalone keywords that basically it's nimble,
Yep.
it's applies the dodge, it's like you take a dodge and you just get it. That's what it does. I feel with Cassian and K2SO in particular, you have a lot of like a choices to make. There's so many things on there, but you also have the ability to, like, I can do this or this, I can choose
Right.
to do this or this. I can have this weapon config, I can have that weapon config. I can choose how I'm going to spend my aims traditionally, or if I'm going to, increase range, or if I'm going to manipulate dice results. I really like how these characters really feel like you're in control of them, if you kind of get my point there.
Yeah, I've heard Boba and Sabine both described as a Swiss Army knife. Man, I think Cassian's like the ultimate Swiss Army knife.
Yeah.
He has so much flexibility. He's really interesting.
Yeah. Yeah, he's like the sham wow. He'll clean up any mess on the table. So
Yeah.
he's there. He, yeah,
Uh,
I got this. I got this.
oh my
Um,
God, get out.
I might as well just give a DJ horn right there. There we go. Oh, um, yeah. So it's a very interesting. I mean, for 10 points, I feel like it's a no brainer to equip that on there. I'm
Oh,
liking it.
certainly.
So.
Yep.
I threw this last one in here. Overwatch. Now, it's not a new card by any means, but what do
Right.
you think the potential synergies with Cassian, given what he has, and the Overwatch?
Okay. I'm. I don't want to jump ahead here, but I think Overwatch is really good if you combine it with one of his command cards.
Right, which is why I included it. So a little bit of foreshadowing here. It definitely has synergies with that. Um, do you think that Overwatch becomes a good sideboard piece? Because you can sideboard this as
Yeah.
well, can you not? Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. I
I'm
think
just.
it totally does.
I,
So here's the thing. He's got 2 training slots.
mhm.
Why not put Overwatch in your sideboard from one of them?
Yeah.
Like, I like the idea of if I'm going to play Cassie and I'm going to deck him out, I want to put an upgrade in every single slot so that I can have all the other upgrades sitting off on my sideboard and make every possible choice on
Yep.
deployment. Right? So Overwatch is just one of those things where it's a great tool in his toolkit
Yes.
for sure.
And,
Range 3
and
standby. Yep.
I think, let's just, before we go on to the command cards, which will probably, that'll be probably end of our episode anyway. We'll get through that, and then have time for Q&A at the end here. But what do you think, looking at Cassian and looking at K2SO, are you identifying as probably the strongest attribute of all those keywords? There's a lot to choose from there.
Uh,
I'm forcing your hand. You got to pick one. What's on K2SO that you really love and you think that makes him, who the powerful individual that he is, and then what on Cassian? And
teamwork.
I'll give you mine. Okay, so teamwork on K2.
Yeah. Well,
Okay, and
teamwork in general, I think, is their big trick.
okay,
But I mean, yeah, I think the whole package is relevant, but just the idea that you can stack so many tokens around with that is the real thing I think is cool. I
Right.
mean, you can even take like electro binoculars on like a rebel trooper squad or something and just throw even more aims out. It's crazy. Because remember too, like it's like as so long as you're tokening up Cassian, which he wants all those tokens because he wants to dice fix and increase his range and all those tricks. You're also giving a bunch of aims to K2 as well. And then if he's shooting with that 5 white dice weapon and he can aim like 3 times, it's equally ridiculous.
Yeah.
So yeah,
I,
no,
I
team for me.
what I think, and I think you're right with that. And I'm just going to add a little compounding factor on there. I think teamwork and the potential to share tokens, you can choose within a given activation whether you're going to have a very defensive team here or you're going to have a very offensive team.
Sure.
And like you can token up, you can token up and be like, I'm going incognito here, I'm just going to do whatever I need to do to hold, obtain, get a point on an objective. And then you can also
Right.
have that term where you unleash, right? You unleash either range weapons or short range suppressive attacks, dice fixing, increased rate. Like there's the potential spring out of this unit with all of the synergies and all of the keywords to choose. It's very hard to nail down. Like I said, getting back to a unit that's very sort of one dimensional, if you will. Okay, I know what the snowtrooper flame unit's going to do. I know what they want to do. I know what they're positioning to do. I'm not sure that I
Right.
can nail down what a player's going to do with, and we haven't even talked command cards yet. But I'm not sure I can
Yeah.
nail down what this unit is trying to do every turn. I think that there's a real wild card potential to. I have to pay attention to this unit in particular.
Oh, absolutely. I completely agree. Yep.
All right, well, let's jump over and have a look at our command cards. So again, just leaving the cards on here for context. You've seen the upgrades. We know what's there. Well, let's start working through the command cards. This is a unique unit in the fact that we have 4. So in no particular order, but we are going to start with the 1 pip and work our way backwards on this one.
Mhm.
We have crack shot. So crack shot, Cassian Andor's 1 pip, Cassian Andor only. Cassian Andor gains gunslinger, cause why not? And 1 aim token. There's a way to get aims. And at the end of this activation, his activation, he may gain 1 suppression token and he gains 1 standby token.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well,
Well,
there you go. There's your reason to take Overwatch,
sure. I'm
right?
just gonna slide Overwatch back over here.
Yeah, yeah. So first of all, Gunslinger's amazing, especially amazing on a unit that can take a sniper rifle, and particularly amazing on a unit that's going to start for free with a 1 pip that gives him an aim, doesn't necessarily have to go first, and can token up in other ways, right? So now I have Gunslinger, so now I can potentially shoot, I could be like, oh, I'm going to spend an aim. Like, okay, I'm going to move, get another aim. Maybe I got an aim from K2 this turn or whatever. So maybe I have 3 aims. I'm going to choose to shoot that unit that happens to be in range 2 with my range 2 weapon. Maybe spend 1 aim to turn one of my results into a crit for free and pierce it. Then I'm going to gunslinger onto a second target that's maybe at range 3. Now spend my second aim to increase my range via long shot to range 3. Spend a third aim to change a result into a crit. It's piercing, all of that stuff. And then when he's done, puts a standby on himself and a suppression. So the suppression happens, doesn't negate the standby, or else this command card wouldn't actually work. It's not intended to do that. It's not
Yep.
intended to, right? So standby token goes on him. He's now got Overwatch. Standby triggers at range 3. Now he's area denying anyone who wants to take an action that moves them into range 3, or if they take any other action besides shooting him at range 3, they're going to trigger his Overwatch. And remember, he gains Gunslinger, so it doesn't stop him from continuing. If you ask me, and based on kind of like a lot of those weird command card clarification stuff that we saw in the RRG, he's got Gunslinger for the remainder of the turn.
Yeah, so I'm pretty sure this
Yeah.
falls into the same category as Rex with his fire support, that
Hmm.
he has gunslinger.
Right.
He gains it, he has it. It's not just for his activation, so he has it there now. So what about it? What about Cassian? If let's just say he's got a range 1 to 2 weapon, Joe, but he's going to trigger Sentinel at range 3. Is he going to be able to fire to range 3 without spending an aim token for long shot?
No, no.
Import
It depends
Right.
on his weapon, right?
Yes. Yes.
So his weapons are specifically range two weapons. If he doesn't have the sniper rifle equipped,
Right.
um, so yeah, you can trigger at range three, but you're gonna need an aim to shoot that unit at range three. But in the example that I was giving, maybe some other unit triggers it and he shoots that unit that was in range two. You don't have to shoot the unit that triggers. You
Right.
also can give yourself a move from Overwatch. So that's the other thing too. Like maybe you just want to use Overwatch to give yourself a move so you run away and moving gives you an aim and then moving passes that aim to K2.
Right.
There's like a lot of synergies there.
Yes.
So,
Sorry, I was just trying to bring up that other one for us to have a look at here. So this is the one I was talking about here. So this has long shot. So as Joe is pointing out, that if in fact he gains an aim from, let's say, K2-SO does teamwork, takes an aim, or calculates odds, he would be able to potentially, I'm thinking, on the Sentinel, on the triggering at range 1 to 3, be able to spend an aim token to increase the weapon from that configuration. I don't see why he wouldn't be able to do that on his pistol
oh
configuration.
yeah, oh for sure.
Yeah,
If he's sitting on an aim, he can absolutely do that.
yeah. So
Yes.
this makes it pretty fantastic. Now, I guess keeping in mind here that if he were to trigger that at range 3 on Sentinel, and you have Gunslinger, you would actually probably have to spend an aim token on each of the attacks
Yeah.
if you wish to increase the range. So just important things to kind of keep in mind. There's a lot of moving parts with him, and because you're kind of stringing keywords over from both command cards as well as upgrade cards, as well as Cassian Andor's base keywords, just a lot of things to kind of keep in mind and keep into consideration there. So
Oh, for sure. But all of this is a moot point if he takes his sniper rifle,
totally is. Yes, I'm
right?
just saying you may have been in a particular configuration when you had this. That's why I'm just pointing that out,
Hmm.
because you don't have the option to reconfigure at the point where you're triggering a standby. That's all. So,
Right.
all right. Well, that kind of covers off crack shot. Let's bring up the next one. The next one is
Okay.
entitled Last Stand. This is the 2-pip here. Um, Oh, got an error loading. Anybody else? Well, please let us know in chat. Bob said he's having had an error. I still see 28 people in chat. Let's just let me know if that cleared up for you, Bob, or if anybody else is having any particular issues. So last stand 2-pip. It is Cassian Andor and 1 trooper. When Cassian Andor issues an order to a commander or an operative unit, that unit gains Indomitable. And gains 1 aim, 1 dodge, or 1 suppression token for each wound token that unit has up to 3.
Right.
Okay,
Yeah, so this is pretty cool. So Indomitable, I believe, is the keyword that the Wookiees currently have,
correct.
which allows them to roll red defense dice during their rally step as opposed to white.
Right, 66% as opposed to 33% to roll that off.
Mm-hmm. Right.
So, yeah, nice to get kind of, you need to either have full actions or you need to prevent a panic or something along those lines.
Right, and this combos nicely with all the potential sources of danger sense that you're going to be taking, or that you may want to take in a Cassian list, right? So like,
Right.
let's say you take Jin and she charges up her danger sense super high, and now she's in a panic threshold. Well, you could just issue the order to her because it says commander or operative, and
Yep.
then she could just roll reds and clear off like multiple suppression, right?
Yes, very good. I mean, just for fun, gain an aim, gain a dodge, or a suppression, your choice there. So,
Yeah.
and and it's one suppression token, and you get the token here for each wound that you have up to 3. So if you
Yeah.
have 3 wound tokens, you could potentially gain, I'm thinking, 1 aim, 1 dodge, and 1 suppression, or 3 aims, or
Mm-hmm.
any combination thereof if you do have wounds.
Yes.
So what do you think about the potential synergy with let's say Chewie? Chewie's a guy who comes to mind that potentially could have 3 wounds, hanging out with 3 wounds,
Uh-huh. Yep.
to kind of gain those tokens. Now it says here that when he issues the order to a commander or an operative. Now this doesn't preclude Cassian from gaining the tokens himself.
Right.
Now, is it both units that gain the same number of tokens? It just says that unit. So how do you read
Uh,
that? How do you interpret that?
so I just think I think it just affects each unit individually
That's kind
from
of
the
how I
two
read
order.
it as well. Yeah.
Yep. So specifically when you issue an order to a commander or an operative, that unit gains Indomitable and gains an aim, dodge, or suppression token. For each wound token, they have up to 3. So yeah, no, you're right. I think that it's just
That
all right.
unit.
This right, and then this guy has 2 wounds, so he's gonna get like an aim and a dodge or 2 dodges, and like this guy
Right.
has 3 wounds, so he's gonna get whatever. Um, I think that you brought up a good point with Chewie, and I wonder if there's some really interesting synergies with Han, Cassian, Chewie, K2 lists
Right.
because those are legal. That's a legal list,
Yeah.
right? Those are your 2 commanders and your 2 operatives.
Yeah.
And then now, I mean, it's a little pricey, but now you have access to multiple sources of teamwork.
Yeah. Here's Chewie, gets an order, has 3 wounds, gains whatever 2 aims and a dodge. Teamworks over to Han. Here Han gains, 2 aims and a dodge.
Right. You still have access to calculate odds with K2, so you can still pop a bunch of tokens around. There's like reckless diversion combined with incognito plays and setups that you can do. There's like a lot of crazy stuff, right? Like what happens when you play reckless diversion and you put a face up order on K2 and K2 has incognito, so they can't shoot at him unless he's at range 1. Like that
Yeah.
then you can only have Han get shot at or something. There's like a lot of weird stuff you can do that I kind of like. It's complicated, but I think that there can be some cool plays that you can set up with that. Um, I'd like to see what people come up with over time.
Yeah, I think you're right with the K2-SO. I mean, I can see Cassian carrying around a little bit of a wound total, right? We're talking about a white dice save here.
Yeah,
It probably wouldn't be hard for him to have 2 or 3 wounds, even if, because I mean, a lot of times it seems like he's getting a lot more aims than he is dodges. But having obviously danger sense is going to be very helpful on the defensive end, but that initial attack against him may be where you get your heaviest wound total. And maybe you're all right with that. Carrying around a few wounds, you're like, all right, I got my couple wounds. This is great for when I drop last stand. I'm going to gain a couple aim tokens here. Here, K2-SO, you got a couple from teamwork. Feeling pretty good about that. And I'm Indomitable. Maybe you're not too worried about rolling off suppression if you want him to kind of carry some for danger sense, but maybe you just get that one turn where he's got just a little bit too much suppression for you to feel comfortable with it. And so you want to roll some of those off. You got that opportunity to kind of clear some of those. So
yeah,
especially if you're carrying around a quota for danger sense, and then you do get maybe suppressed or a couple suppressive shots, and you need to kind of clear some of that off. So
yeah.
yeah,
It's gonna be interesting for sure.
okay. Anything more on Last Stand?
No, I think that pretty much covers the basics.
All right,
You
so
know,
we got 2 more to go through here. This is the 3 pip here for Cassian Andor, volunteer mission. Cassian Andor and 2 troopers. So natural progression, Crackshot, Cassian Andor, Last Stand, Cassian Andor, 1 troop, Cassian Andor, and 2 troops here with volunteer mission. Says here, when Cassian Andor issues an order to a commander, an operative, or a special forces unit, that unit recovers and gains
Okay.
danger sense 1 and
Okay.
may gain 1 suppression token. So basically immediately triggering danger sense, I guess.
Yeah.
The
So
it's really nice because it's like here I'm gonna unit recover, clear all that suppression that maybe I have, and then just gain danger sense 1 and get 1 back just to make sure I'm taking full advantage of that keyword.
right, no, there's a lot more to this card I think than what it appears on the surface.
For sure.
First of all, it's a free recovery on 3 units.
Yeah.
So you got Jin in your list, let's say. You got Cassian in
Sabine.
your list. You got
Yeah.
Sabine in your list. Anything like that? All right, let's flip all our configurable weapons.
Yep.
Let's untap our offensive pushes. Let's untap our electro grappling line. Let's, untap our stims. Anything like that. Awesome. I think, okay, here's the other thing. Danger Sense 1. Okay, that's a numerical keyword. Numerical keywords stack. So Cassian, who normally has Danger Sense 3, now has Danger Sense 4.
Jin danger sense 5.
So yeah, you can, and again, the caveat with Danger Sense is like you can choose to not clear suppression if you want. That's one, you can like forego your rally step. That's part of Danger Sense. The other thing is like this could stack onto a Pathfinder unit. Give them a bigger Danger Sense charge. Maybe it recovers their ion weapon if you're taking Bistan. Man, there's so much cool stuff you can do
Actually,
with this card.
yeah. Andrew points out a really nice thing here. Commander Luke and Force Powers.
There you go.
For sure.
100%.
Yeah. Yep.
Super cool.
You have that
So,
turn
yeah,
where you
no,
just
there's-
kind of like use it all. Like you're just throwing caution to the wind. I need to tap everything. I need to use it all. I can only recover 1, except for now. Now I can recover the
Give me
rest.
my Jedi. Well, he can't. Commander Luke can't recover any. He doesn't.
No,
have
no, no.
Master-
Yeah, sorry, not. I wasn't.
now-
I was
right.
thinking more op Luke, I guess. So
Right. So Commander Luke now with
Yeah.
push and like Jedi Mind Trick or something, or push and reflexes that get them both back. That's super good. Yeah, there's so much cool stuff you can do with this card. It's super worth taking, I think.
yeah, I really like the. I'm kind of thinking about Sabine here. Danger Sense feels good on her. Just kind of thinking about all the rest of the cards there. The recover action is fantastic, as you pointed out on Sabine. She's always looking for ways to recover. She's got her own recover card as well.
Yeah, I mean, man, if Sabine is rolling extra red surging saves on top of her normal red surging saves, she's like unkillable.
Yeah.
Danger Sense. Yeah, no, that's when she wants to dive in or something, that's really, really good.
Yeah, I just want to go back for a second. I just want to have a look at. Okay, and I'm just thinking. Just thinking about the 2-pip with the last stand as well. You don't want to token up heavy Sabine. Here's Sabine's got nimble already, but I'm just like anytime you can get a dodge on her, indomitable, because there is times when I feel that Sabine does get a little bit bullied in terms of suppression. Because it is one thing, regardless of her save, that she is very susceptible to taking. It's not difficult. So anytime you can get a recover, or she potentially has a recover action in herself, a recover action with the 3-pip, and then indomitable on the 2-pip. So
Yeah.
I agree. Daniel's pointing out these units seem fun to play. Absolutely. We're hoping that
yeah.
in this hour-and-a-half episode, we are highlighting the fact that even if you're not really into playing Rebels, these units right here seem fairly fun. Even if you're playing against them, I think it's going to be really neat to kind of encounter Cassian and K2 for the first time, in terms of all the things they're going to bring in their own unit, but also all the things they're going to activate in previous units. Like we haven't seen, really heard a lot from Pathfinders. I'm looking forward to the synergies and the potential resurgence of some Pathfinder units with POW or Bistan. And like, I mean, some of those units getting a few aim tokens here and there seem to be really potent. There's some offensive output with Pathfinders that I think is relatively untapped to this point.
Oh yeah, for sure. And it's one of the things I've been thinking is in the world where there are two new tanks in play. I think Bistan is like a really good option for rebels in general. Having access to a punchy ion weapon is going to help them because they don't have. I mean, they have a ton of answers to armor on paper, but they seem to be things that people don't really take a lot.
Yep.
But I think Bistan with his ion weapon in this list where there's all these other ways to buff that squad is really interesting. Probably worth taking.
In a way, Cassian to me sort of resembles a little bit of the token sharing ability that clones have baked in. Just in all the ways he's able to get or give or synergize in terms of the sharing ability. So I like this because I dislike greatly how tricky clones are in sense of like, okay, what does this unit have? Oh wait, it's not what's on its activation token, it's all of these things that are around the perimeter of it. It's like, oh, that's a lot. I feel that Cassian's going to very much be a unit that's going to kind of create that sort of like that harmonious sharing of tokens. I mean, obviously they're not going to be shared specifically like what you see is what you get with him, but the ability to generate so many tokens, I think, is pretty spectacular.
Oh yeah, for sure. No,
All right.
it's cool stuff. It's good stuff. Really,
All right.
really, really, really fun unit.
Yes. And then to top it off, just this little bit of gravy bonus, if you will. Let's just throw another 3-pip in.
Yeah.
So interesting to see this.
Yep.
And this one here, for me, of all of them, the most to unpack.
Okay.
And I think probably the most situational type play. And people may disagree with that.
Also, the most tear jerking.
Well, I'm not going to get emotionally attached to a droid trooper, but fair enough. Droids don't like to cry anyways because it rusts them. So, but anyway. Okay, just reading some stuff in the chat here. Okay, so this one's called Sacrifice. It is K2-SO. It's a 3-pip as well. It's Cassian Andor and K2-SO. K2-SO gains Guardian 4. Just here you go. Just have this. At the end of K2-SO's activation, you may choose another friendly commander or operative unit at range 1 and in line of sight of K2-SO. If you do so, defeat K2-SO, and enemy units cannot perform ranged attacks against the chosen unit until the end of the round. Fall on your sword.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
And in a model that its base cost is only 70 points, it's just kind of like a better Chewie.
Here's
like the way I like to think about it.
Here's me soaking 4 wounds for you, and now I will take all the rest of the shooting. I'll be your shield for the rest of the shooting, even though I will no longer exist on this battlefield.
Right. Or just kill myself to make my Luke immune to being attacked.
Yeah, for a round. Yeah. Now, do you see it as preservation of, it's obviously going to be commanders or operatives. Do you see this as a preservation early game ever, or do you see this really as a late game need to keep this unit alive, need to get one more activation out of this unit, potentially in a turn 4-5 situation?
Yeah.
Or do you see this as an end game? And when I say about situational, is I very much see this as much more an end game play. However, I could see an opportunity where potentially things went awry, and maybe one of your big point units just ate a lot of hits or wounds, either from a great dice roll from your opponent or a bad dice roll from you, and you just needed
Yeah.
to get either an extraction plan or you needed to get a few more legs out of your unit. But how do you see it played out?
Well, I see it as exactly what you described before, is that it flexes. It definitely saves you from your own mistakes, that's for sure. But it also, like, ideally, I'd like to use this in the late game when we're condensing on objectives and say, oh, you just can't kill my Luke or something. Or
Yeah.
you can't kill my super clutch unit that's, like, holding a box. Right? Like, you can't, like, Cassian has one wound left until he dies. You can't snipe him off the table and make him drop his box or something.
Yeah.
There's plenty of ways that it flexes, but it also, like you said, it does help save you from your own mistakes. Let's say you accidentally move your Luke out into the middle of the table early, and then you get like a fire support clone tank shot into him, and he takes like 5 or 6 wounds. Well, maybe you just go, man, I need him to make one or two more plays. Like, I better play sacrifice, kill K2, and like make Luke safe for a turn. And then Luke can maybe double move and go into a Son of Skywalker before he dies or something. Like there's, yeah.
I think it's important. Go ahead, Joe.
No. I was just agreeing with what you were saying earlier. Like, I think it's a really flexible card, and I think it's really good.
Yeah, and when I say situational, I just mean there's I feel very key moments when this card needs to be played, and it's almost like I mean, obviously you won't know if your opponent has this or not in particular, because there's ability, I think, in Cassian lists to have quite a few command card holding individuals. But I think that if your opponent does have it, or you can anticipate, I think there's key moments when you can see this card coming out. So it maybe is potentially telegraphed in the event that they have it. I also wanted to point out too, just in case there's a lot of text there and it can get lost, that this applies to ranged attacks and not melee attacks.
Yeah, that's an important distinction for sure.
Yeah, so you're not bailing a unit out once a Dooku touches them, unfortunately. That's an inevitable foregone conclusion. You're likely getting blendered up, but it is around ranged attacks, which can be very situational. You can oftentimes see those coming as well, but if you're trying to play this at a melee potential or a melee situation, it's too late at that point.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so some Daniels is pointing out here that it reminds him of a Grievous 1-pip, and Felix made a good point here as well, that this potentially comes out in a situation where it's coming down to battle points versus over victory points, and you're trying to preserve the loss of a 240-point unit on the table, right? Who has one wound precariously dangling. Like, I mean, if you ever get in a situation where you got a 1 wound Dooku for 4 turns and you put 11 shots into him, he makes all the 11 saves. That would be a potential situation where this would be great. I mean, obviously sacrifice can't come into play there, but there is opportunity.
I was like, when can K2 go into
No, I'm referencing a particular game from a recent RPQ where seemingly it doesn't matter if you have this or not. You just can't kill Dooku with 1 wound.
Oh man, so I played it's funny that you say that, because I played a game this weekend where my opponent was just like, I played against a player who took a clone tank, and he shot Dooku for 8. I spent my dodge and I rolled 7 natural blocks, and I was like, it wasn't even surges. I was just like, oh, I don't know what to tell you. I'm sorry.
Oh, I see. Michael Hammond has clearly mailed you his red dice. I see. So Michael will usually catches up in a few, like usually a couple episodes behind. So in like 2 weeks time, I'll get a message where he'll reference that line there. So
Hey man, sometimes you just gotta roll with the arrogance of Dooku and just
yeah.
embrace it. Like, talk about the most arrogant character in the Star Wars universe. Like, just go for it. Sometimes you just gotta roll nothing but saves and just irritate the heck out of your opponent.
Well, I can reference. I mean, on Friday Night Fights this past week, Dooku was doing Dooku things. Seemingly could not die. Wrecked face some clones for sure.
Yeah.
Oh, there we go. Mike's just literally typing in chat at this moment. And that's who was playing. Yeah, so I've seen pretty much enough of Dooku in the last few weeks, to be quite honest. So his arrogance can go elsewhere.
Oh man, he's the best. Christopher Lee, love him.
Yeah. Yeah, Dooku. I mean, but Dooku, I kind of have this feeling where Dooku can let you down too. I've been
He can't.
I've
Oh, he can't. He's like any other six health red defense force using speed two character, right?
yeah.
Sometimes he just dies super fast,
I put
and you're like,
Sabine in that category
okay.
as well.
Yeah, no, for sure. It's just hey, it's dice or dice, man.
It's that over reliance on red dice surge. It's
Yeah.
blocks and blanks seem to come up a lot. If you get that red dice surge, I don't even subscribe to that. Just Mike pointing out that he's playing Dooku in every game now. Even games when he's playing Rebels, he's just gonna have Dooku in the list
Just yeah,
again.
hey, just
Just
just do a Dooku into a Saruman the White conversion, and then you can just be like, oh, it's Old Man Obi-Wan or something. I don't know.
yeah.
Whatever. We'll just make up rules.
Yeah, why not? That's pretty much what we do here. So
Man, I saw no, not to go on too much of a tangent, but one of the guys, his name is Lachlan. I think he's from New Zealand. No, or maybe no, he's from Australia. He's like a content creator for Lord of the Rings a lot, but he's been painting up core set and making those and I saw he was like, yeah, just like Saruman the White. I'm buying every Saruman model for Lord of the Rings, so I had to buy Dooku.
oh, fair.
Put him in there as well.
Nice.
It's
Yeah.
hilarious. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, but yeah, shout outs to that channel. Those guys are awesome. I love their content for both games, so that's cool to see. It's doing some good paint work, good
Nice.
tutorials.
For
Yeah.
sure. Well, while we'll kind of wrap up here in the next minute or two, but let's just briefly talk about any worlds prep that you're doing. Not, I mean, we're still bantering lists for sure, but I just mean in general, like are you able to get in reps? Are you kind of playing regularly right now? That's good. Okay.
Trying to play
Um,
at least 1 or 2 games a week.
right.
I still haven't landed on a list right now. During this stream, I've been assembling B2s. So
And Joe got one B2 done during this stream, so
no, no. There's so much here to put together. I've got them
fair.
all,
Nice,
but
nice.
they're actually fantastic models. But I'm gonna try a double the fall list with a B2 a couple times and see how I
Right.
like it.
Yeah.
I'm not sold on it on paper for the same reason I'm almost not in love with my radiation cannon squad,
Right.
because I find like my radiation cannon squad typically doesn't do much throughout the course of the game because I don't want to just throw stuff away.
Right.
I feel like I'm gonna probably run into that same issue with these B2s, but I'm gonna give them a shot. It's
Right.
one of the lists I wanted to cycle through. Um, Putting some tanks on the table as well. Proxying some AATs with my clone tank bases as well. So gonna see. Yep, there you go.
Nice. I left. Did you didn't assemble yours? I think you said you had sent them to painter, but I left my sides kind of like flimsy right now.
Yeah,
I kind of like the look of it. Like it won't focus here as much because of my face is there, but I kind of like the look of the sort of slope down edges, and I left the back fins also able to be manipulated. So I kind of like that. I'm not 100% sure if I'm going to end up gluing them in place or not, but super impressive models. I was really a
oh yeah.
fun model to put together. Really impressive on the tabletop. Got to run one on Friday Night Fights this past week as well. Got to dish out some
Yeah.
Obi-Wan pains. So yeah, took Obi-Wan from one wound to death in a single shot. So that was great.
Yeah.
Always gotta like when.
I'm looking forward to Pi Day,
Oh
March 14th.
yeah.
There's a Pi Day pre-Adepticon tournament, practice tournament,
Oh
and
okay.
the first place winner wins a pie,
Oh
which is great. Jeff
okay.
Arney's hosting that.
Oh nice.
So I will definitely be participating in that. Still trying to
Does
decide what I'm gonna bring.
Does the in the box rule apply on March 14th? Because it's not a is that a Saturday?
It is. It
Okay,
is.
so it should apply then. So
Yeah.
or perhaps not. I'm not sure.
All right. Okay.
Just check with them, please.
In
Yeah.
the pie.
In the pie. Actually, that's a great. You should bring him an empty pie plate as a dice box for that day. Yeah.
Fair enough.
Rounded edges, I think, are statistically able to produce more hits and crits. I think so.
Yeah.
So
Agreed.
just let them know. Thumbs up in chat. So I think people also agree to that. So okay. Well, anything else, Joe, to share on this episode here? You
No,
are
I think
you're
that's it for
joining
me.
us. You're going to join us Sunday for some commentary.
I'm gonna try.
Okay.
I'll probably not hang out the whole day,
Yeah,
but
I don't expect, but I did do a community shout out, so I should put it on here too. If anyone is interested in, and it's going to be kind of randomized, we're going to match up different people, which I thought would be kind of an interesting way to do it. Sort of come hang out. Obviously, we'll have chat running as well. But if you are interested in coming on and just doing some co-casting with whoever other co-casters are that particular day, I won't be playing, so I'm kind of like trying to dish off my duties to other
uh,
people. But yeah, that'd be I can just coordinate putting people on stream. You can chat, see who's going, what's going on the table, and just kind of make it a really fun and community type event. So something different that's not really been done before. So
sounds good.
yeah, so just
All right.
reach out through us. All right. Well, everyone knows that the tokens are going to be available through us at Adepticon. Obviously, just if you're picking them up there, just find us.
Hmm.
We got a lot. We'll have a token mule, I guess, in Jace. He'll be toting around the tokens. So you can find either Joe or us, Joe or I, and we'll cross you guys off the list. Of course, if you just want to come up and say hi and hang out and introduce yourself, if you have hung out with us on any of the chats, we'll also like to meet as many people as we can and shake some elbows and yeah.
Yeah, for
Okay.
sure.
All right, Joe. Well,
Well,
I will catch you on Sunday, and hopefully we'll see a bunch of people in chat there as well. So, till next time, guys. Thanks for watching the Legion Academy.
have a great week, everyone.
Cheers.
Cheers.